Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC, coming at you with a little different style of episode right here on this Thursday. It's been kind of a crazy week here with all the Florida Ole Miss and Florida Lane Kiffin talk and all that. So week's been everywhere. So right here on Thursday night, joined by Sponge, joined by Alex Shepard right here on this. We're going to do a Q&A style episode here on Gators Breakdown. So I threw it out earlier, yesterday, I believe, on Wednesday. You guys responded to some tweets, but also make sure, leave some comments live, and we will get to as many questions as we can there on the in the comment section. So guys, it was an eventful day. We will get into that. So, I mean, one of the first comments, Harrison Sanchez puts in here, Ole Miss boards completely melted down today. So we will get into that. Why did the Ole Miss boards melt down? I'm sure all of you know out there, but we will get into it. And like I said, some of the questions. So guys, thanks for hopping on. We're not going to rehash the ugliness that was in Lexington last week. Everybody is moving on past that. And we have a little bit of a football game Saturday, but it's kind of better known as the Lane Kiffin Bowl on Saturday.
Are we moving past this? We're just going to move past that. Okay.
It's Thursday. We can move past it.
Yeah, that's out of sight, out of mind. Flushed.
Yeah, what's that? What's the talk? When you have an ugly game like that, just flush the film.
Yeah, burn the tape, baby.
Burn the tape. That's what it is.
I mean, you watch it and then you can burn it because, again, man, like I say, it was ugly to say the least. I know you've hashed it out already earlier in the week, but you know that this is kind of a lost season, and we kind of knew that going in. Definitely didn't love the way they obviously played, but again, it's one of those things of, you know, how mad can you really be? You know?
Yeah. It was ugly.
No, enough of that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everybody, let's move on to brighter days. Brighter days.
Saturday may not be one, but
that is true too.
But we'll get into it when it can. Ultimately, we all know the main storyline for this week, this game right here. But everybody, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, right here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. But smash that like button. I see some questions coming into the comment section. What I will say, and not really trying to, like nickel and dime you out there, I don't know how fast these comments will go, guys. So if you absolutely want me to see your question, do the super chat because it will highlight it. I know it's a little bit of a donation or whatever, but that is going to be the easiest way for me to see it. So we'll see how fast the chat goes. Maybe I can get into it and we'll see what happens. So, all right, first, let's get into the news of the day. As Harrison said, the Ole Miss boards have been on fire today. Well, it started this morning. The Ole Miss 24/7 board, I forget the name of it, but Neil McCready, I think is his name. He's one of the mods there on the Ole Miss 24/7 board. Was asked, would he bet if Lane Kiffin would be, but pretty much, where would he bet if he would be part of the Ole Miss coaching, if you'd be the Ole Miss coach next year? He said no, pretty much. And, it went from there. Something that's on their side seemed to change pretty fast because he did not think that as early as or as recently as yesterday. But, that and then I think that might have been taken down because I'm sure he was getting slammed. And then so Chase Parham on Rebels 24/7 came in and basically explained as well. He goes, I don't know what Lane Kiffin is going to do. I'm not reporting Lane Kiffin is staying, going to Florida, or trying to be Santa Claus in the mall next month. But they both started, I guess, having Florida sources, and they talked to their Florida sources. And look, there is a lot of confidence on the Florida side. There has been a lot of stuff coming out the last few days that makes my confidence level rise about where this is heading with Florida and Lane Kiffin. There's been, Pete Thamel and Chris Lowe have come out in the last week. Both have said they don't think Lane Kiffin will be at Ole Miss next year. Of course, that can mean LSU as well, or the NFL, what some people want to throw out at the same time. But even the Ole Miss 24/7 writers say, look, this is mainly a Florida or Ole Miss. That's where they see it. That's the most of what they're hearing that's coming out there. But of course, when that is, hey, look, no, paraphrasing here, I would bet that Lane Kiffin's not here at Ole Miss next year. Of course, that's going to blow up on the Ole Miss side. Their boards go crazy. Twitter starts going crazy. But it really did just confirm, I think, behind the scenes, some of what's been going on and why some confidence is on Florida's side. It now has bled over to the Ole Miss side, and maybe they're hearing the same things of Lane Kiffin maybe prioritizing, maybe leaning towards headed to Gainesville. Now, of course, there's a timeline to all this. After the Egg Bowl, after the playoff, all that goes. But it is kind of, I think, noticeable, the timing of it all. Because, like I said, last few days, talking, asking, there's been some positive mojo with Florida and Lane Kiffin. And now you get it from the Ole Miss side as well. Just had a big episode yesterday about this all with Zach Moretz, with my Ole Miss, my Ole Miss guest for this week. There's a lot going on right now. I don't think anything's done. But as far as what's been behind the scenes, there's reasons to feel good. And then when you hear the other side of it, kind of just ramps it up even more.
I don't know if you wanted to go first.
No, you got it, man. You got it. Go for it, dog.
Well, first of all, I think that Kiffin is not going to tip his hand. He's going to keep trolling on either side. Whichever way he's going to go, he's going to say, no, I'm not going there. And then he's probably going to go where he says he's not going. By the way, you were mentioning LSU. Like, who the hell would want to go to FSU or LSU right now? I mean,
hey, you were right on both, by the way.
Nobody wants to go to FSU ever, but LSU is in such a bad spot right now with that whole Brian Kelly fiasco. That any coach that looks that way, it better be a big paycheck, and they don't really care about administration because they're in a bad spot. So I don't think that they're legitimately in the running. I think you were right to say that it's Ole Miss, Florida. And I don't think, like you said, nothing's been done. We're really early on in the process still. I expect we won't hear anything until potentially December. If it is Kiffin, I doubt that they would get it out any earlier. Obviously, everything's kind of heating up right now because Florida is playing Ole Miss, so you're going to see the two on the field at the same time. So, of course, the speculation is going to start rising. Nice promo on the cup, by the way. Held it perfectly. There you go. So I don't know. I think we don't. Everyone right now, it's speculation. Of course, everyone's got their sources, but at the same time, I think we need to take a step back, go in there with caution. Don't get overly confident that we're bringing him here. Obviously, we can be excited about it, but don't get overly confident and pretend it's a done deal.
The couple things there are. This is, and we talked about this on the Gators Breakdown Plus Discord. So the Discord has been crazy today, by the way. I mean, absolutely nuts. It has been brought up two scenarios that are close to this situation and the Florida situation, Alex, about, not counting your chickens before they hatch, basically. Florida and Chip Kelly, because that was done until it wasn't done. Alex, you actually have a story about that, don't you?
Do I?
Do you?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to be at the airport when Chip was...
Oh, so I was there. I was at the airport a couple different times.
Okay,
but I was definitely there when Napier got there. But
yeah,
I am a flight tracker, so I'm keeping my eyes open on Flight Radar 24.
There we go. So, but no, that was done until it wasn't done, and then Lane Kiffin himself and the chronicled 2022 in Auburn, and Landry changing his mind, and he ends up not going to Auburn. So there's your two best examples of Florida and Lane Kiffin of, don't count your chickens before they hatch. That's just kind of where everything is. Sponge, let me go further into this with what Chase Parham said on the Ole Miss board today. He goes, if I step back and have a view from 10,000 feet, I think Florida is a very real threat. Again, in my opinion, and based off what I'm hearing, some will argue I'm drumming up for clicks and blah, blah, blah. Fire away, but I don't get anything from clicks. And I'd love Lane to just sign the extension and we all focus on football. But that's not the world right now. And I feel I have as good of sources as one can, both inside Ole Miss and in other areas, including people who know and have the trust of people close to Florida's decision makers, which in my opinion is Hugh Hathcock, more than Scott Strickland. There's another big booster involved, everybody. We know that. I'll just leave it at that. Florida for a while was blustery and egotistical and just thought the UF logo was enough to do what it wants. And while I think that still exists, I am recognizing a shift where they frankly are just confident without the bluster. I've heard a lot of specifics about what they have offered, are offering, and now the attitude is simply everything will be great and you'll see, and don't really care if other people believe them or not. It's a noticeable shift. People would disregard that, but I know Ole Miss people, not administration, who are concerned by it. And I've heard a lot of detail about this paragraph in the last 24 hours from multiple people.
Hey, they said it's great to be. This is, like I say, it's the chatter, it's the behind the scenes stuff, it's the smoke. Where's the fire? And like I say, now they're getting a little bit of intel on their end, and they're hearing, the murmurs of all that stuff. But I literally texted one of my buddies today, like, I feel like the stove's getting hot, this, that, and the other. But I said, I don't want to count. I use that phrase exactly in my text. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch, just because you don't want to get burned. You don't want to get spurned in the end, like thinking you're too overconfident. Like, yeah, this guy's in the bag. Lane's going to be our coach. Yes, we feel confident and we feel like this is the right fit. I mean, everybody, we've talked about this for almost years. It seems like that. Can we get the right fit and just get it in to where it needs to be? And like, it just feels like kind of things are lining up to get there. And that's where we hope it's going. And like I say, you got everybody kind of involved. You got, Florida side, Ole Miss is now hearing stuff. And like I say, hopefully we can just lock it down. It feels like I told you earlier today, I feel like we're on like National Signing Day watch and wait list, man. We're just like, all right, man, can we get to December 2nd where he's got to sign the paper and fax it in? We want him now. Let's go. But we have to wait until who knows when, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Junior, thanks for the donation, says smoke from the Lane train is thick. So, but this is why it blew up today. You have the Ole Miss side now admitting, hey, Florida's a threat. For a while, you weren't getting that. For a while, it was, there's no shot. Here's why Ole Miss is better, and he's not leaving. And I will give credit to the Rebels 24/7. I've been perusing there for the last couple of weeks. They kind of have been in that mode that, hey, it's not, Florida's going to be a threat here. Lane will consider Florida. But you go on Twitter, you go on any some of the other boards, it's like, no, Florida's not a real threat. He's not going there. And why would he go there? So credit to them for putting it out there. And then now in earnest today, we see it, like Scott 20 says, Ole Miss fans in shambles today. That's what it was. That's pretty much what it was out there today. So there was another Lane to the swamp. So we talked about this on the last episode of Gators Breakdown. Will Lane leave before the playoff? That's the big question. I mean, I think he will. And we talked about this as far as Ole Miss is going to want an answer soon as well. They can't go into early signing day. They can't go into the portal not knowing if Lane's going to be around and who their next coach might be, who they need to go get. It puts them in a bad situation as well. So, look, you have Florida this weekend, and then a bye week, and then the Egg Bowl. We're going to know something in the next 3 weeks. Late November, early December, we are going to know one way or the other.
Hey, Dave, I know a coach that has SEC experience looking for a job. Yeah, he was at Georgia practice the other day. I'll give you a hint.
Kirby Smart?
Oh, that's him. Wouldn't that be a story? Oh my gosh. No, you're 100% on it. I think the next 3 weeks is going to tell us a lot. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, here's the scenario I throw out. Now all this is coming out. From the Florida side, it's been, we won't Lane. Today we get the Ole Miss side, and it's blown up. Does it get so toxic in the next couple of weeks where we might even get our answer before the Egg Bowl? I think everybody's kind of been, all right, we'll get our answer around then. He'll want to coach his team, which I still think he'll want to do. But if this gets out and it keeps blowing up, I mean, obviously, I think he's going to be asked about it Saturday in post-game press conference. If it's blowing up this much, there's no way he's not getting asked about it. So does it get blown up and toxic so much where something has to come out? And does it sway the decision either way?
Yeah, no, I think that too is kind of like where we're finally getting that other side of it, to where Ole Miss fans, you know, the message boards the last several weeks were, you know, he ain't leaving, he's staying here, you know, whatever. And, you know, now you're getting that to where, like we said, on some of those boards where they're melting down, they're practically already like feeling the burn of him leaving, and how they are like, screw this guy. I'm going to help you pack your stuff. Get out of here. We don't want you coaching in the playoff. You're basically ruining our perfect season, yada, yada, yada. So that you're already getting a little bit of that turmoil in the fan base, you know, then on top of, you know, I don't care. That stuff lingers into the team stuff too. Your players are reading into this stuff, you know, that it's everywhere. So then, like, the more fire there is, the more heat, you know, that's where you might get some sort of, you know, something's going to have to be said about it, in a sense. You know, the whole big thing too now is the backstory channels about all this recruiting stuff, you know, with players. Like, is he contacting like Florida recruits? Is, you know, are there, you know, who knows? Those are the juice that, like, what's going on really behind the scenes, and who he's really talked to and who he hasn't talked to. And like I say, I don't have any reports on that, but, you know, there's multiple things of, you know, things being said, like, you know, is he reaching out to, you know, kind of solidify the roster in a sense? And, like, you know, the more that gets out, the more people can't keep it tight-lipped. And then, like I say, things just kind of, you know, out themselves. And then you're just like, well, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm taking the Florida job. You know, I'd love to coach these guys to try to win the Natty here at Ole Miss, but, you know, there's too much this, that, and the other. You know, he might be out the door. Like I say, they might let him go. Who knows? That's where all this stuff is just a wild soap opera that we're into for these next 2 to 3 weeks. And, you know, we're all just on it for the ride right now.
Yeah, some of this Alpha Gator USA, the never a dull moment in Gator Nation part is kicking in. Feels like a setup for a troll.
I mean, I
That would
did
suck.
say it earlier. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I don't know if Lane would take the trolling that far. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, he likes to yes, he likes to troll. Yes, he likes to troll on social media. I don't know if you take it that far.
Yeah, like we said, there's an ethical line to, like, toe, and, like, that's where, you know, yes, he loves to troll, but there's a certain point where you obviously want to still be in good standing with your new employer, your new fan base. I mean, he's done this before, you know, with the whole Tennessee deal. So it's like, you know, did he learn from that? And again, he's the biggest troll out there, but he does it in fun, in my opinion. So, like, this,
right? Like, he'd be doing this regardless.
Yeah, but, like, you know, he's going to spurn somebody. Like, somebody's going to be upset at the end of the day. You know, somebody is just, like I say, it's just like a 5-star recruit. He's got to pick one place. So one place is going to be happy and one place is not.
Yeah, and I'm with you that I think he does it in jest. You know, it's not done maliciously. And we talked about it on the last time I was on, Dave, that you know, it could be something where they come out and they play really well. Ole Miss plays really well and just tramples Florida. And they announce an extension or something like that after the game on the field. But you know, I see Dan in here. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Side note, shout out to my dad watching for the first time from Georgia.
Hey, there we go.
So bringing in new viewers for you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think I like our chances too. I mean, I do. I think that we're in better standing than we were 4 years ago in terms of, like, where Lane is. I think it just makes more sense now. You know, I think the boosters need to look at it and say, we have to take the big swing. We've done, like, the culture guys. We've done the, you know, really, like, I don't know how to put it, but, like, modest picks. We need to go for the big hire, the big swing, the one that's going to bring in the boosters, bring in the money for NIL. And it's, I mean, I see a lot of things on the message boards as well as on Twitter. And I think one of the questions that was on your thread was, if not Lane, then who? And it's like 1A is Lane, and then you go down like 50 different levels, and then there's nobody else that brings anything near the excitement that he does. Like, not even a tad bit.
Yeah,
it's bad.
We talked about that. We have talked about that. There's so much here, and he is the target. And there's no shame in admitting that. I mean, everybody knows it too. You're not going to dig our heads in the sand and say, all right, Kiffin's not the top guy. It's Kiffin and this guy and this guy and this guy. No, it's not. It is Lane Kiffin. It's Lane Kiffin for the administration, a lot of the boosters, Gator Nation. I know not all of Gator Nation. I hear it out there too, that he's not everybody's top choice, but the majority he is.
And the rest are Eli Drinkwitz.
Obviously, he's the one. But and going to Dan's comment here, Dan says, "I like our chances, Dave." You know, Dan and I were in a thread earlier this morning. It was kind of based off of the Ole Miss guest I had on, the Ole Miss guest High Top had on, I think from Locked On Ole Miss guy. I forget his name off the top of my head. But and then a Twitter thread that we were tagged in with David Soderquist as well. And we were asked, hey, what would be your percentage? And I said 75% that I think Lane's going to be in Gainesville. And Dan responded with a GIF, higher. So, you know, it pairs, like I said, and some of that was even before a lot of this Ole Miss stuff got started in earnest this morning. Now, Ole Miss stuff started early, don't get me wrong, but then it was just a lot of based off of the episodes that we had yesterday with our Ole Miss guest. But then, you know, I talked to Dan some in the last couple of days and with Soderquist and some other people. And like, yeah, there's things going on behind the scenes that make us feel good right now where Florida stands with Lane Kiffin and then pair it with everything today. That's why we feel a little bit better. But yeah, if it's not him, it is going to hurt, you know, especially after today. Like a lot of positive mojo as far as Lane Kiffin and Florida go. If it's not him, let me find the question. Because Lucas, you know, said, if not Lane, Lucas Mann, who's your number two? Sponge and I recently talked about this so it's not a big thing. Mine would be Lincoln Riley, but he is, to me, a step below. And he can stay at USC. I think he might be in play for LSU. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully Florida doesn't have to worry about it. But to me, behind Lincoln, it is a group of, I can't separate them, between James Franklin, Brent Key, Jeff Brom, whoever else you want to just throw in that little mix. You want me to say Eli, don't you?
I wanted you to say it so I could laugh. That was really it.
But see, that is so, like, all three of us, because I've talked to Sponge too, all three of us are not high on him. And man.
It's like watered down Lane Kiffin. It's like sour milk Lane Kiffin. Like he tries to have like the personality of like that edgy guy, but you just look at him and you're like, that guy. And then, I mean, he's been at Missouri and he's done a great job there, but that's the kind of guy you get a feeling like that's like the peak. Like he's not meant to be on the blue chip Florida coach side or Alabama. I just don't see that like he's built for it. I don't know. I just don't get those good feelings from him. Like I do like a Kiffin. I can see Lincoln Riley too, but I think it's Lane and then multiple tiers down for everyone else. I just think that I heard you say 75%. We've been burned before.
I know.
And I'm sitting at like 40%. I don't want to get my hopes up.
I'm hearing good things, and that's me taking it down to 75.
I'm hearing good things, and I would put it at 30 just because I am a pessimist, and I would rather be surprised than get really hyped up and get let down again for like the fourth time in a row.
But and I've seen it on message boards, but what the Discord's calling it is Gator PTSD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Sponge brought it up, recruiting. We all remember Cormani Day. I mean, you know, Gator. He's Miami. Sponge, I think your button might have got hit again.
I did. No, yeah. Cormani, definitely. We had the birthday cake out. You know, we're like thinking, yeah, he's coming. And then
was he the birthday cake or was it somebody else?
It was. I think Avante had the birthday cake.
Yeah,
it was multiple people. Yeah, but I mean, we got burned. Like again, that's what happens in recruiting. So this is a similar fashion. Like that, we're going for the big fish here. But I'm totally with you. If he was to not leave and stay at Ole Miss, or you know, go to LSU or wherever, take an NFL job, you know, which I don't see happening. But then yeah, I would swing for Lincoln to try to steal him away from USC. He would be my second choice. And then after that, like you say, it's just everybody in the same pool. And we've talked about it a dozen times right now. It's like everybody's fighting for a new coach. And it's just like, these are the same candidates for every job that's open right now, you know, and like Lane is the main guy. So it's like, Penn State, who are you hiring? Who are you guys really hiring? You know, so it's like, and then if nobody likes any of these guys, it's just like you're just settling because we just need a new coach because we had to fire somebody, you know, and it's just like that's where we're in this nature of results based, like do it now, win, win, win. And, you know, if you don't, you're out, you know. So like Lane, again, it just makes like I was on the Lane train way back when he was at FAU. I thought we should have hired him before Mullen. That's where I was at with it because I liked him when he was at Bama because his track record, when you go on that resume, like dude was coaching in the league, man. He was the coaching for the Raiders. He was coaching for USC. He was the coach at Tennessee. Like he has been coaching for a long, long time. Then he finally hit the reset button and got, you know, right with whatever when he got with Saban. And then he had to like almost show like, hey, I can do this again. You know, let me show you. Goes to FAU. And then that's when basically I was like, that's when you go like that's the P5 guy to go get then. Instead, you know, yeah, we hired Mullen. We thought everything was going to work out and it didn't, you know, but like where would this program have been if we would have hired Lane back then? You know, again, guess what? You got a second chance now. You got a third chance because we thought we were going to fire Billy last year to get Lane. So it's like third time's a charm, baby. Let's go. Like this has got to be the mojo. Cause like you say, I like the pool of candidates, like you guys have both said, if it's not, we're going to be majorly disappointed. And that's just is what it is. And you just got to root for the guy and hope it is what it is. But I guess this would be one of the next questions. If it wasn't a coach, like what coordinator is your favorite? You guys' favorite coordinators, I guess.
I haven't thought much about it except for a couple names. Will Stein at Oregon, just because he's a hot name. He's at Oregon. I just don't think it even gets that far. Like I think Florida will go settle.
I don't either. Yeah.
Well, settle probably isn't the right word if you're comparing it to a coordinator.
Right.
But Florida would go a G5 head coach, I think, before they get a coordinator. I don't think they would take the risk to go get a coordinator.
I want to put like a little note on this. This is I used to be the guy that would go after the very like Todd Golden type hires, like small school or like a innovative young guy, because I feel like they can relate to the players and like they'll bring some exciting stuff. I don't know if you remember, I would not hire him now, but I'm just saying we were talking about coordinators who I really liked last year. I don't know if you remember me talking about it. It's funny who you said your pick is, because the guy I liked the most was Garrett Riley, who's Lincoln Riley's younger brother, and he's the offensive coordinator at Clemson. But they're not having a great year this year. So I took his name off the list. I agree with you that there isn't a coordinator out there that I think that would fire everyone up, but I think the list is long enough of Power 5 or, Power 4 coaches that will end up there. There's maybe one or two coordinators that we could really pull and maybe have a decent shot with, but I think it's going to
go into your Todd Golden comparison before you get out of that. Like Eric Morris in North Texas. Just go look at the stats.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that we talked about it earlier today. Who would your G5 be? And I think we
ultimately my G5 would probably be Golish.
Yeah, I would be Golish in North Texas. That's probably where I'd be.
Alex, that's what I'm saying.
But that exactly.
I'm saying if we have to go G5, I don't want to go there because of that. I'm like you. I'm like,
so you want Eli over those guys then, huh?
I would take Eli over Golish. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like Golish. I'm sorry. He shares my name, and I don't like him. But both. Let me just be clear, because somebody's gonna clip this shit or stuff. Excuse me. And,
he doesn't want to win SEC titles. Come on, man.
No, somebody's gonna clip this.
Yeah, we got that freaking Eli quote. Oh my Lord! Did you see it, Alex?
I'm gonna be clear. He's gonna be. This is buried. Like these guys are like on the ground of people that I want. I don't want either. So let me just be clear.
Okay.
So anyways, no, was there a quote? He doesn't want to win SEC championships. Is that what he said?
Go ahead. You got it.
Do you have it up, Sponge? Or I want to make sure I don't get it wrong.
Yeah. Let me pull it up.
Okay. On that, I'll keep it up for the comparison's sake. I would take Golish just because I think that offense with Florida athletes could be really good. It's the Tennessee offense. It's Alex Golish offense. I think it could be really good. I don't want to go G5. I mean, that would overall, that would be settling for me. But if it gets that far, I know Eli's got SEC experience, and that probably means a whole lot. I don't think it would work at Florida. And Sponge, if you got it ready,
here's what he said. Eli basically said, Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz pushes back on playoff or bust mentality in college football.
Oh yeah.
We got to get out of this. Oh man, it's the playoffs or bust. If the season only counts for 12 teams, we got 127 D1 football teams. That math's not going to math very well. There's a whole heck of a lot of proud of, oh, we went 9-3, 10-2, but you didn't make the playoff. And then my boy B Spikes, Mr. Brandon Spikes, Mr. Iron Gator, Mr. Linebacker 51 stud national champ, said it's always been championship or bust in the SEC. Everyone else, it's exhibition season.
Oh my gosh! Can we hire Spikes?
Yeah, we got to keep him definitely on staff now. Yeah,
if Brandon Spikes, if that's his mindset,
I love B Spikes.
I mean, I want to keep him anyway, but don't get me wrong. That's like even more of a staple. Okay, boom, Brandon Spikes, you're staying. You're going to be part of this staff of still. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to sound like an elite.
Herb Street actually liked Eli's comment.
I know he did. Yep.
He's like, yeah, we can. And again, it goes back to what I said too. It's hard to win the freaking national championship. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, you look again. There's 3 current coaches who actually have the trophy sitting in their office right now. The rest are not coaching anymore. So it's not easy to do this, But now with there being 12 teams to get into the dance and maybe expanded to 16 in the next year or two, that's even more, pots to get in. So it's like, it is playoff or bust, especially if you got to have that mentality of, especially when you're in the SEC, that you're going to be one of these 16 teams in it every year. And if you go 10-2, you're probably going to be in the mix every single season. It's like I say, we've gone, you hear Sankey talking about 8 teams in the SEC should get in, all this, that, and the other, because you look at that top 25, top 15, like it's littered with SEC teams, so who's going to get in, who's going to get out, it's going to play itself. Some teams are going to play in and out here in the next 3 weeks, but like I say, what sucks is not having this logo right here in that list. And that's where we belong. Yes, yeah, we can have that upper mentality, sorority, superiority feeling, but that's where we've been in the last, 20, 30 years, going back to Steve Spurrier. He put us here. And so like, yeah, it's definitely sucked this last decade since Urban blazed on us, man, and won natties at Ohio State. So it's like we're just trying to get back to that, and like that's where we rightfully belong. So put us back in our place, man. Let's go.
Yeah, like that. So if I sound like an elitist, so what?
Yeah, come on, bring it on. Yeah.
It is playoff or bust. And look, we're all smart enough to know it's not going to happen every year. We know that. Like, I'm not going to hire Lane Kiffin and expect him to be in the playoff year 1. But starting year 2, that's going to be the expectation. I'm not going to
speak for yourself.
Okay, fine. That's where you go. Year 1s are weird. I will always stand by it. I would just stand by that. I'll have high expectations. Don't get me wrong. Let me see the roster first.
Yeah, I was about to say, let me see the roster.
But anyway, like just in general, for any year 1 coach, I wouldn't expect a playoff run. But starting year 2, okay, yeah, you need to be in the conversation, and to me, that's what it would be. I mean, overarching thought for me would be you go into November still in the race. That's where I would put it, and I agree in some way. You're not going to make it every year. And the year you don't make it shouldn't be, it shouldn't mean everything. Now, it's got to be a trend. Now, you don't want to live in that world for a while. Absolutely. But your mindset going into a season should be playoff or bust, whether it actually happens or not. But we all watch enough football. We know what comes and goes. We know what good football looks like. We know how to read a good season, a bad season, if it's trending bad. I don't think Florida's gotten rid of coaches, when they shouldn't have. I just think but if we're elitist, so be it. I mean, that's going to be my mindset. I mean, if we got a former player who's got that same mindset, then you're not going to tell me Gator Nation's spoiled. They don't know what they're talking about, unrealistic expectations. No, we got a guy who's been on that field who absolutely agrees with it as well. It is playoff or bust. And you know what? If it's 12 teams and 16 teams, it makes it easier.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can have 2 to 3 losses. Like you look at the top 25 right now, and basically all the way down to 22 is a 7-2 team, and then you got 23 is Tennessee at 6-3. They're probably outside looking in, way outside, but like they were in the conversation just a few weeks ago, and like again, all you want to be is really in the conversation again, man. Like we're so far removed from being in the conversation. Like what's sad is I started thinking about this the other day. I'm like, and we kind of, I know me and you said it earlier in the season, Dave. Like literally, like when I was walking out of that stadium week 2 after that South Florida loss, I was like, this season's over, man. I was like, there's no like. I'm like, damn. The season really was over because we had no expectations we were going to win any big game, which we didn't. Yeah, we beat Texas, great, but like that's when that, especially going into the season, how much expectation level we had for this team to be like so like deflated and dashed week 2. It was like old BCS era time. Like we got our loss, we're done. Like let's just see how many games we can win now. And so that to literally be, like I say, feel eliminated after the second week is like, that's not where we are supposed to be at. And that's why ultimately Billy Napier had to go, you know what I'm saying? So like,
a lot of that was because we had seen the story play
exactly
out.
I was literally about to say, it's the same song and dance. It's Groundhog Day all over again. And like, that's where it had to end. So, and it did. So now we're having this blind optimism that we're getting our guy. So hopefully things are trending in the right direction and the smoke is going our way. We'll say
the smoke
Alex is at 30%. So
the smoke of the Lane train.
I'm not getting burnt again. I'm not doing it.
Hey, one more super chat here. This I don't know, but I got to put it up there because thank you for the donation here. Did Kiffin's daughter get into Florida law? I know that's a rumor out there that Landry could be applying to Florida and all that. I have no idea. I'm more concentrated on the football aspect of it. Sure, if I could find out that information, that might be some kind of indication of the future here. I have seen that for a couple of weeks. I have no idea.
Someone needs to go ask Vari, 157 Gale on Twitter. He's a law grad. Go ask Vari. Shout out Vari.
Yep, shout out Vari for sure.
Yeah, the other thing too, they allegedly somebody asked Knox,
right. There was a recruit, Adam Gorney, I think it was.
Like what's going on, because again, I think Lane's even got Knox trolling, because he did, after one of his playoff games a week ago, he put the little home emoji, on there, like home, like like just. Like it's just a little troll of like, yep, I'm at my home game, here in this Oxford's home. But so it's like, one of those things of like home could be anywhere, Maybe, The next thing exactly. I'm at Buchholz next year, baby. Like, I don't know. So it's like, I got some guys in line. I need to give Kiwan a call. Be like, Kiwan, go ahead and get Knox over there. Travis McGriff's the OC over there at Buchholz. They need a new quarterback.
Ernest is coaching
he's at Santa Fe, so I can call. I hit EG up, be like, EG, you need a quarterback?
Yeah. So. So on Twitter, let me get to these, and then we'll get to the live chats here too. One I really wanted to get into because it relates to some news that came out yesterday, everybody. Dude on the couch, Attitude 14 asked, do you think the united front / alignment between the UAA, boosters, and administration is similar to Georgia after firing Rick and going to get Kirby? I think that's a good comparison. It's amazing what happens when you're tired of getting your teeth kicked in, when you're tired of losing. I've been saying on the Discord, I've been talking about it a lot in the last few weeks. I had some conversations up in the press box a few weeks ago. There's some changes going on in UAA. And Andy Staples has even come out and said, I think in the last couple of weeks, if you've basically had a conversation with Jeremy Foley, you may not be safe in the UAA. Changes are happening. Chip Howard, quote unquote, retirement was recent as well. There's some changes being made. And I've said people are tired of losing. People are tired of being embarrassed. People are getting aligned. There's a target. Everybody's getting in line to go get that target. It's been part of the Ole Miss statement that I read earlier about what Florida is trying to do to get Lane Kiffin. And of course, that's Lane Kiffin's contract, staff salary, an NIL plan, which, look, Florida Victorious has been pretty damn good the last couple of years. And Florida's NIL is really good. If this happens, it's going to take off. I mean, even more so. We've all three talked about that in the episodes of Gators Breakdown. I do think there's a united front here. That's another reason why I hope Lane happens, because a lot of it is based on that. And I hope it continues. It will not be as good as it could be with Lane. I will fully admit that. I still think there is a plan to get this, everybody on the same track, everybody in the same direction, no matter who the next coach is. But I do know there is if it is Lane, just by talking to fans, talking to a lot of people, I will be on board if Lane Kiffin is the guy. Believe me, I know people in Florida Victorious who used to work for Florida Victorious. And when people canceled, the name that was brought up the most? Lane Kiffin. That's just an example of it all. So there is a lot of alignment and alignment that can still happen if he's the guy. But I think everybody's getting on the same page to try and make this happen.
Yeah. I'm 100%
Oh, my bad. And the news.
You're good.
And the news about that, Geico being on the field for the next 2 home games. That is something that would not have happened under the, quote, old guard with the UAA. They were not going to come around on things like that, modernize. Scott Strickland, for all his faults, don't get me wrong, is a great, great money gatherer. And getting the money, that's one more angle to it. But and having conversations yesterday and today, that was one thing that was brought up. Hey, this Geico deal, if you don't like it because of the tradition of football and your field painted with a sponsor logo, okay, I get that. But we live in a different world right now. And money is king. Whether you like it or not, money is king. Bring it into Gainesville. And believe me, all this alignment that I talk about takes money.
Certainly
if you want to go get the hottest coach in college football right now, it takes money. So this whole Geico thing and all that being on the field, it is part of this new look UAA taking form and moving along with the future.
Yeah, it's encouraging to see. And I wanted to go back to when you were talking about the comparison with Richt. And you were saying like, it's crazy what happens when people get their teeth kicked in. It shouldn't come to that.
No, you're right. It should not.
But we've done it however many years in a row now with coaching hires, and here we are again. And so that's what I go back to, this whole big swing mentality. I feel like every year it's like the way it feels to me just as a fan is that we have like a dollar amount that we're set to spend, and that guard is not going to raise $1 more than they need to. So, if they exceed that budget and there's a guy who is worth $2 million more a year or needs more than that, we're just like, we'll go get the culture guy. We'll get the guy who's not as expensive. We'll go get the guy who maybe is a program builder. And I think that this is the first time that I have felt in the last, I'd say since Meyer, in my opinion, where we are trying to take the big swing. And if we miss, we can say we did it. We can say we put all our eggs in that basket and really went for it. And if he says no, I will say that we're going to have to do some soul searching, because that tells us the state of how other coaches see the University of Florida. Even in total alignment, if they're saying no to a 3-time national championship school, there's something deeper that we're not seeing. So I think that that's going to tell us a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that statement 100%, because that goes back to what I was saying, where if we feel like we're elitist, like, yeah, we're one of the traditionalists here in the last, 30 years, we'll say. We don't have to go back 100 years of football to, count our national championships, this, that, and the other. To whereas if you've got all this in alignment and you've got all the people in the UA on board doing new things, gathering more money, increasing good facilities. Again, we talk about being in the hottest bed for recruiting. Like, we know that the state of Florida still has the best football. I don't care what anybody says. I coached in it for 15 years, and, you can lock down this state. Like we always say, you think about Miami and how, obviously Miami is the best area for recruiting. And, like those guys are leaving the state, to go play at Ohio State and Alabama, so like, that's where, again, we need to win the state in recruiting. So guess what? You're not going to get that guy in Oxford. from Miami. You know, you got a better shot of landing the next Jeremiah Smith from Miami to come to Florida than going to Oxford. You know, Ohio State's going to get that guy. Bama's going to get that. LSU's going to get that guy. So that's one thing that has to be, you know, a thing. He knows he recruited down there when he was in Boca, and he was getting the 2 and 3 star guys from down there. So all those things in line, that's why it just feels like this is the right fit and it's going to happen. But if it doesn't, definitely there's a definite major issue going on that for somebody to basically be like, nah, no thanks, I don't want that. And you know, when it's the most hot guy probably in the last 2 or 3 cycles, I'd say. I'm trying to think who else, like, you know, DeBoer maybe. I mean, I would rather have Lane than Kalen DeBoer, you know. So it's like, I guess, like, who is, because we know that the best 2 coaches or the best 3 coaches that everybody loves to throw in there, obviously Ryan Day, you know, everybody loves to throw Dan Lanning in there now, but like, how much better of a coach is Dan Lanning than Lane Kiffin, or is he better? You know, so it's all about fit. And like I say, Dan Lanning feels like he fits at Oregon. You know, Ryan Day, like, they wanted to fire. We talked about it. They wanted to fire him last year, and they won the national title. You know what I'm saying? So again, it just feels like everything is in alignment. So yeah, if for some reason he was to say no and leave us at the altar, there's definitely, you know, something that's going on black cloud style that, you know, soul searching is a great word.
Yeah. Take a look in the mirror for sure. Kyle says, is it true? He's a Florida State fan. Alex, I'm sorry, I keep covering you. Yeah. With these, these comments.
Hold on to this for you here.
Is it true that our game will be aired on Cartoon Network? Because Kyle's a Florida State fan at 9 a.m. But he does say, I give y'all props though for making a change. Not sure what we're waiting on. So yeah, interesting angle to it all there. And
he didn't like Norvell's fiery speech the other day that he gave. He didn't like that.
I guess not.
Start fundraising for that buyout, buddy. Gonna take a couple years.
Harrison, I love this one here. What have Tim Brando and other national media's hard thinking now? Yeah, we'll see. That one reason I hope it gets done is so Tim Brando has already blocked me like years ago on Twitter. But Lord, I would love to see his face and just see him eat some humble pie.
They thought people have thought that we were bad on Twitter. Now we get laid. You're gonna see people like walking down the street with a little bit of like a cane and like a little bit of a walk to them. They're gonna say the town is gonna come alive. Twitter is gonna be nuts. I mean, that will be the biggest. I guarantee you that will be the biggest orange and blue game that we will have had probably since Tebow.
Yes,
like it'll be massive. The city will come alive. We will sell out every freaking game that year, and I mean, it'll be so great to see some of these old comments brought back, the bookmark tweets of these guys saying Lane's never coming. You guys will never get him. And we talked about this, Dave. Like, I think a lot of people think it's about like fear, like some of these national pundits. It's like about, they don't want Lane to come to Florida. You know, they're worried about that, you know, because we beat their favorite teams or we will. And so I don't know. I look forward to that little bit of smugness if we can land him, because I mean, I think it'll finally feel like we can be confident as Gators again, where we haven't had that the last, 5 years.
Yep. We'll see. Fred Wright. See, I'm going to disagree with this, and we've already talked about this, but I'm going to go back to it one more time because I think the programs are still close. Not trolling, but Lane's best chance at a natty is LSU. If LSU is right and Florida is right, there is absolutely no difference. He can make both right.
Totally.
So I don't think that's his best chance. I'm sorry. Yeah. If he can come into Florida and do the same thing he can do at LSU.
That's put it this way. I know I wasn't on when you guys were talking with national media and this, that, and the other. And like, again, LSU is a great program. And, but I remember, again, me being old school, I remember Spurrier back in the day when I was, high school guy. And then when Gus was going to Florida, when I was at Florida in the 2000s, that end of the, like, LSU was an afterthought, man. Like Jerry DiNardo, man, get out. Like we beat the hell out of LSU, man. I remember one game, I don't remember what year it was. We beat them like 56-7, in Gainesville. And it was just like, so like, yes, they've obviously gotten a lot better. And, Baton Rouge is a great place. Tiger Stadium's awesome at night. All that stuff. It's that, I'm not putting none of that down. You know, yeah, they won it with Eddie O when they had just this magical team that, like, you know, is a team like that ever going to be built again? You know, that 2019 team. You know, we sent one of my guys from Trinity, Kevin Tolliver, to LSU, and they were terrible in his time there. And he was like Tolliver was one of the most sought after cornerbacks in the country. And it was coming down to, like, he's from Louisiana. So it was like they figured he was going to go there. But I know the Gators got in the mix. You know, Miami was in the mix. And he ultimately went to LSU. And, like, again, that was when LSU was mid. Like, they would – I guess you wouldn't say mid. We consider mid to 8 and 9 wins, you know. And you think they get a guy like Brian Kelly in there, and they still that – to me, it's successful what kind of numbers he had. Like that we talked about now, if Billy would have been 8, 9, 10 wins a year, we'd still have him. Because guess what? They're in the conversation every year, but they just never made a playoff. They never made a playoff push. And you think about some of the rosters that they've had, you know, Jaden Daniels and, you know, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, like, you know, that compares to that, you know, Joe Burrow and, you know, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase type team, you know. So it's like, yes, they can get dudes there, and yes, they're really good. But, like, overall, like, what is LSU? What is so different than LSU to Florida in the last 25 years? They're very comparable. And like you said, if Lane goes there, hell yeah, I don't want that to happen because I know what he can do at a place like that. But LSU fans, they're thinking deep down inside, just like Ole Miss fans, just like Georgia fans, are like, please don't let Lane Kiffin go there because they know the capability of what it could be.
Yeah, coping.
Copium. Aaron Simmerly brings up a good remark here. So if Kiffin doesn't come and Pittsburgh wins out, well, we'd be cool with Narduzzi and him bringing Cade Bell. That would excite me more than anyone else, save Riley. I was okay with that a little. I would have been okay. Just throw him in the mix with everybody else until there's a comment that I think it was yesterday that he comes out and says, I don't care if we lose Notre Dame.
By 100.
As long as by 100.
He said we can lose 100. He said we can lose 100 to 10.
Yeah.
All I'm caring about is these next 2 ACC games.
Yep. And I was just like, what? Where is that when these coaches?
Dude,
and drink and all these comments.
I'm like, okay, I get it. It is hard. It is hard to win a conference. It is hard to go to a playoff. I admit, but man, you don't come out and just say stuff like that publicly.
Heck,
it just sends a terrible message to me.
No, and like I said, Cade is one of my guys too. Like I coached Cade in 7-on-7. He was here from Jacksonville. I love Cade. I still have a great relationship with Cade right now. He's not ready. Like he can maybe be an OC for us. Like, but I still would rather have Lane, you know, pick his guy, you know, and if Lane is the guy, but like heck no, we want Pat Narduzzi, man. No way. Yeah. I don't care if Pitt wins out. Like again, you can't have that mentality in the ACC, you know, bringing that to the SEC.
Yeah.
And you know, like I say, so Cade, I think is definitely a high and up and coming OC.
And it's a ranked matchup. It's a big home game.
Yeah,
for
you're
Pitt,
playing Notre Dame right now. You know,
and you're sitting there telling me that game doesn't matter.
Yeah, because here's the deal. Really, truly. So if you win that game and you win your next 2 ACC games, you're in the mix to be in the ACC championship game and maybe get into the playoff.
Yep.
Like this game is majorly important for you guys.
Yeah,
like,
they could make the playoff if they win out with that. Yeah. One more super chat here. Lane is here, done and done. I don't know if here means, I don't know if this is an Ole Miss fan or a Florida fan. Lane is here, done and done. It's all just smoke and mirrors at this point. Change your font. I don't know what that. I'm assuming since you gave a donation, you're a Florida fan. So I hope, but I don't know. If you're an Ole Miss fan paying $10, thank you.
Go toward the NIL fund.
Hate watches count too, but. Let's see. All right, trying to get some more. This is the part where I have to go. This is why I like when they are super chats and star, because I can just easily get to them. Now I just got to go through and find out which ones are kind of different here, and it gives us a good Bull Gator kind of on that comment of what we were just talking about a little bit. They keep scoring football, right? Second place in football means you lost. Only a loser is satisfied with losing. It is not elitist to want or even expect to win. It is being competitive. Bull Gator there. Gators Breakdown Plus member. Let's see. Anything else you guys want to hit on while I go through these?
No, like that right there. Again, I that's one thing I always said. Competition is everything, man, and like that's one of the things that you go back to. You think about that urban era is competing at everything, and like hate losing more than you like winning type deal. That's always been me, and I always hated the losses more than sometimes winning the game. And so yeah, it's not an elitist attitude. It's more of a confident thing and like knowing your place. And I think going back to even the Mullen, the standard, the Gator standard, like there is a standard. So it's like when it's not being set or being made by what's happening in all these cycles of coaches ever since that with, McElwain, with Dan Mullen, obviously with Billy, that, yeah, something's got to change and you got to get back to that competitive, like I want to win everything mentality, and that's, if it's not there, then like I said, I don't want you here.
Can I, this is going to be a very wild thought.
Okay.
Hear me out. Let's just say things go really terribly. Lane doesn't come. Lincoln doesn't want to come. Our third guy doesn't want to come for some reason. Do you look at Dan Mullen again?
No.
The recruiting, so here's the thing. I was one of the guys who didn't want him gone. I knew that he had the recruiting stuff, but I liked him as a coach. I liked the X's and O's. I liked the mentality. I liked all that stuff. And I don't know if it's humbled him being at UNLV. He probably will still take an NFL job if it was open to him. But as a coach and somebody who, loves the Gators, you're not going to find many more who love them more. I'm not saying that is what I want. I'm just saying, like, if you start getting to the bottom of the barrel and you're looking at Alex Golish or Dan Mullen, I'm just saying, like, far out there, way, way down the line.
Yeah, I actually had this conversation with Dave. I think one of the more I said basically, if we wouldn't have fired him, it was kind of just it needed to happen in a sense. I was almost in the mindset of we might have fired him a season early, but now I think it's fine that we fired him. It's whatever, move on. It is what it is. But I get what you're saying. This is my point to where I agree with you in a sense is like when he was here, it was right at the peak of when NIL and all that was starting. And we heard the rumors of he didn't want to recruit all that. Well, like I say, it's kind of a different game now to where it's like, he
did not want to have much to do with NIL either.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's changed. It was still in its infancy.
That's what I'm saying. That's where it's like,
about it.
Now it's like, yeah, okay, give me more money. All right. Oh, I now have more money to throw around to go get this guy, that guy, and the other. And so where I think recruiting would be maybe a little bit easier for him, you don't have to build those relationships. It's all about throwing money at him.
I mean, do we forget he never had a defense while he was here?
I know that's true. And yeah, because we just remembered he was in his bag against Georgia. That's the last time we beat Georgia. But yeah, he would be way down the list. Like it'd be
like 10th option.
But I get your point.
But again,
you're saying
I'm trying to get that
Golish or Dan Mullen.
That's what I'm saying. That's a great point.
I'm trying to get some interesting conversation while you're searching for your comments going.
That was good.
This will stir up some.
It was good.
Yeah, Alex Golish or Dan Mullen. Who you got?
I mean, it's an.
You might have caught me there. You might have caught me. I'm gonna have to go revise that. I would probably take him over Alex Golish. Yeah. I can't.
Him or Eli Drinkwitz,
I was about to say that Darth Vader over.
Dude, that should be a poll question.
He could be at the introductory press conference in the Darth Vader. That'd be perfect. No, that'd be a great poll. But I mean, people are gonna comment like Dave. No, like just don't, please.
Well, I mean, if I give them two choices, they got to vote or just not vote,
or just not. Yeah, it's gonna be the comments is gonna say no, vote no here. Yeah. I mean, just
I will title the tweet "Doomsday Scenario."
Doomsday Scenario. Dan Mullen,
Mullen, or Eli Drinkwitz. I mean, you guys, you can probably let me know in the comments here. I will scroll down in just a second. But Mason's been lighting everybody up. Here we go. I mean, we've already hit a lot of this throughout the last weeks. Lane Kiffin ain't leaving Ole Miss. They are literally in the playoff path. Ole Miss is hosting 2 Florida commits at Oxford. I could care less about the recruit thing. That means absolutely freaking nothing about if he's going to stay at Ole Miss or go to Florida.
Yeah, he's going to basically talk to him about, what position you're going to be playing, for him at Florida next year.
Yeah, I don't even think that's the case.
Yeah,
but no, that has no bearing. First of all, he's under contract at Ole Miss. He's doing his damn job.
Mm-hmm.
That's all there is to that. And then the whole playoff thing, that's just there's going to be a coach that does it. It's the new world of college football right now, and the playoff is expanded. You don't think any coach in the history of the 12-team, 16-team playoff is not going to leave their school right before a playoff run, during a playoff run? You can't pull the wool over your eyes in that. It's going to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And Lane probably, I think, will be the first one to do it. But there's going to be a coach that does it eventually. Just because you were on a playoff run does not mean you're not going to go to the next job. And my whole biggest thing is, yes, Ole Miss is in the playoff. You know what? Their best team ever did not make the playoff last year. College football has fallen back to them a little bit this year. They're going to make it this year, but last year's team was better.
Yeah.
It's all about consistency. It's all about what kind of roster can you build for consistency. And I still think that's better at Florida than it is at Ole Miss. That's what I will just always start with. There are a lot of other reasons. There are a lot of other reasons as well. But that's the one I will always go back to, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise. I don't care what you say. He can build a more consistent winner at Florida than he can at Ole Miss.
Yep.
Totally agree, buddy. Like I said, it is what it is, and that's why maybe he stays at Ole Miss. We don't know, but that's where our percentages of we're feeling good about it, and him as an Ole Miss fan, he thinks that we're idiots that just because he's going to the playoffs is going to keep him there. The thing that we've always said is the sustainability of where can you win the longest at, and Shane Matthews has gone on record to say this 100 times. The reason why Ole Miss is good and they're in the playoffs is because of Lane Kiffin. If Houston Nutt was the coach, they'd be 8-4 every year and they'd be out of the playoffs. So that's why, again, if Lane Kiffin's at Florida, we're 10-2 every year going to the playoffs. That's why I don't want him here. So the reason why they're good is because of Lane Kiffin. But to win, and here's the thing, just because you get in the dance, this is the hard part. You still got to win the whole thing. And right now, what I think, do I think Ole Miss is going to win the national title with this team? No, I don't. I don't think because I was trying to pull it up because they're the 7 seed and I know the rankings are all funky. So when they play Texas, Texas?
Yeah, but Texas and Georgia play this week, so that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So here's the thing: if Ole Miss and Texas were playing this week, who would you pick? I'd probably maybe lean Ole Miss just because Texas is the weirdest team ever. We've talked about them, but again, where does really Ole Miss rank in the pecking order of would you pick them to beat Texas A&M? Would you pick them to? They already didn't beat Georgia. Would you pick them to beat Bama? Would you pick them to beat Texas? So where do they fall? Because they got the good. We talked about it last year. They got the good unbalanced schedule they were on the schedule gods of the SEC where they haven't beaten anybody good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna say it there. But
Oklahoma's good.
Yeah, Oklahoma's good. They're good. But after that, they beat a bad LSU team, and then
But their second best performance was a loss against Georgia.
Exactly. That's it. They like I say, they've ended up with a good schedule. They didn't have to play a lot of the big boys, so it is what it is. They've literally played 3 ranked teams and they lost to one of them. And LSU's an afterthought to when they played them. So again, taking nothing away from them, but like you said, they're not better than that Jackson Dart team and the guys they had on that defense last year. And they were way more explosive offensively to where, that team was really good and they blew it against who? This team last year.
Not to get political here, because we do not do that here on Gators Breakdown. Everybody knows that. But Andrew says, "Will DeSantis allow the town to be named Lanesville?"
For a day, let's do it.
For a day.
But he might actually get him the keys of the city or something.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, a couple more, and it's about an hour here. So, Senator Thrax brings up a good point. The thing is, how much is too much for a head coach? What do you think is the school's limit? So there's a couple things out there. The initial number that got popular a couple of weeks ago was the 13.5. The number that got thrown out today for as high as these teams may have to go, Florida, LSU, they're competing for Lane Kiffin, up to $15 million a year. That would make him the highest paid coach in college football. That would not last very long because Kirby Smart's going to be like, you know what? No, he is not going to be the highest paid coach in college football. He can't beat me. I mean, he did last year, but still, I've got titles to my name. I have rings on my finger. Okay. So, but this way, if Lane Kiffin gets $15 million, he will not be the highest paid coach for long because Kirby Smart's going to come in and say, give me more than him. Ryan Day is going to come in and say, give me more than him. So, granted, he will be the highest paid coach for a little bit, but it won't last long. But you're going to have to make him at that point the highest paid coach in football. Kind of going back to the point you made earlier, you got to swing big here. I mean, that's just, if he's your guy and you have identified him as your guy and he comes for $15 million, sign on the dotted line, get this thing done, and let's just go. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
And here's the thing, right? Let's just say it's a couple million different, like 12 million is kind of where we want to be at, but 15 is what we have to offer to lock them in and get them. They will make up that money in sales and merch and tickets. I mean, they will make that money back and they will be fine. The boosters will be fine. If they put a winning product on the field, they will not feel that $3 million difference over the course of multiple winning seasons. That's the big swing and the big chance that you're taking is you've seen the product that he puts on the field. It's something that we like. It's the best that we think we can get. So take the big swing, pay the extra money. Don't go losing in a bidding war. We know how many times, whether it's for players or for coaches or whatever it is, where we have lost bidding wars. Don't do it this time. Make sure that it is a number that he can't say no to. And if he goes and says no, and it's the highest paid coach in college football and he still says no, then that's not a money problem. That's a like we talked about earlier, an internal Florida problem that we will have to look into quite deeply. But
and I think boosters probably come up with that right there. Like it may not be, the university may not be on the hook for it. So if it is, paying the buyout from Napier, however much this contract goes above maybe where you really want it to, that's where the boosters go. All right, we'll kick in the extra to go get this done. I was getting a DM. I don't know if my source right here, as we're talking contract, is watching or listening to the episode, literally, but I don't think the time is coincidence. It won't be over 15. He does think 13.5 is where it lands. So, but we'll see. If it does go to 15, but it only goes to 15 if LSU comes in and says, you know what? All right, here, this is how much we'll give you.
14.
Yep. And an Ole Miss maybe does the same thing. Ole Miss or LSU, if it gets to 15, it's because two of these teams, Florida, LSU, Ole Miss, are driving it that high.
Yeah.
I don't think Florida's just going to come out of nowhere and say, all right, here's 15.
And I do want to mention as well, I don't think, and I think he had said something about this, I really don't think it's going to be all about the money for him. Right. I think that you could have an Ole Miss offering 14 or something like that and Florida offering 13.5. Now, we'll probably match whatever it is.
Yeah.
But even with Florida offering less, I think that he would still take a Florida job over an Ole Miss job with that even slight difference in money because of the opportunity. And we talked about this on our last time I was on, about whether it's going to be, if he was going for legacy and he wants a statue outside Ole Miss for going, 9-3, 10-2, or does he want to have the ring on his finger, be a champion at Florida? And so
Billy B says right here, he doesn't care about money. Talking about Lane.
Yeah, there you go.
But Jimmy Sexton does.
He that too. He definitely he wants to drive up all these coaches. We talked about that, but yeah,
which he'll do it. They'll drive up the price. And all I meant to say by that was, I don't like the money's going to be there no matter what option he takes. Yeah. So if we're talking, right. $500K, 1 million.
No, yeah.
It's going to be about the opportunity, not the money.
Crypto, I can't get on board with this anyway, but we can. Tebow has pretty much squashed this as well. Hire Tebow, great recruiter, leader of team, can afford to hire a great OC. You mean hire? What, do you just mean hire Tebow as a head coach? I just thought you might have been a staff member, but no. Heck no. First of all, he's admitted his calling is more than being a head coach at a college football program. Tim Tebow wants to do, what he wants to do away from the game of football.
He's a life guy. He does a lot of stuff. He
does not even want to.
Yeah, it would take away from really ultimately what he feels his passion and drive is. You know what I'm saying? So,
and he has fully admitted that. He is not. That is not a quote unquote coach speak.
Yeah, you don't. Here's the thing: you don't just hire. You don't hire a rah-rah guy just to be operational. You know what I'm saying? You still got to have a guy.
Never coached a day in his life. You want him to be the head coach of Florida?
Yeah, I don't get where people come with that one either. Yeah, I did see. Now this is breaking news about 15 minutes ago. Apparently, at Vaught Hemingway Stadium, they're going to have a logo on their field this Saturday.
I saw that.
Aflac.
So
they're saying
it's funny that comes out.
Yeah, so
a day later after Florida has their insurance company come out.
Got to pony up some more money here, Lane. Look, we got Aflac. Which one's better, Aflac or Geico?
Want a duck or a lizard?
Yeah.
All right, a couple more. Adam Krill. I just want consistency and stability. I hate to have a good year, then crashing like Mullen and Muschamp.
That's James Franklin right there.
It was a market consistency for James Franklin until this year. His name does come up a lot, of course, with his coaching search. And he would be, if I throw the rest of the guys together behind Lane and Lincoln, would probably be above Eli and Key and all that. Not crazy, but.
Yeah, I think he'd be your third option, although it'd be lower.
Yeah, if he was the third option, and basically we couldn't get Lane and Lincoln said no. Yeah, I would feel more confident in getting it turned around and being in the conversation, being stability, with him over Drink and Brent Key, and maybe I'd like Braum maybe a little more. But
sounds like he might be extension soon.
Yeah.
Even look at how we talk about, like, we're sitting here going, I guess, like, if he's like, that's how everyone is going to be. If we can't get the top guy, everyone's going to be sitting back going, I guess I'm going to buy my season tickets again.
Yeah. I mean, I'll point out the good in whoever gets hired.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'll have hope. I'd have higher hope with Lane Kiffin. That's just where this is. I'll still have hope. And I'll still support until you give me a reason not to. That's the way to look at it. We're all fans. We all want to be in that stadium. We all want to be cheering. We all want to see touchdowns. We all want to see a defense get the backfield over and over and over again. There's going to come hope and support with whoever the next hire is. It's just going to be a lot higher in general for everybody in Gator Nation. My bad. I don't mean to say everybody. I know there's some people out there who don't want Lane. I know it. It's just you're severely outnumbered.
Where are these Eli stands at? Stand up.
We had this conversation. Go ahead, put this one in there. I'll come back to it.
Yeah. At Ole Miss, this is what I don't like. Lane can win between 8 and 11 games, make the college football playoff a couple times, and have no pressure. He's safe at Ole Miss. There's something to be said for security. College coaches who want to be successful do not think that way.
Well, the other thing about it is, if he did that at Florida, he'd be safe because that's all we want. We want to be.
That is a good point. If he makes the college football playoff, if you're 8, if between 8 and 11 games, if it's 8 every 3-4 years,
you can't have that.
You'll be
every 3 or 4 years. I'm talking about.
And if you're in the playoff race,
you can't be consistently 8 and 4 and out of the playoffs.
Right.
But if again, all we want is 9 and 3, 10 and 2 every year. You're not going to have that
at a minimum.
Season. Exactly.
Not that we want that.
Go look at Georgia over the last 10 years. Why can't we have that? Again,
Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State.
They won the national title last year and had 2 losses.
Yeah, even Clemson,
it's hard to go undefeated now.
It is. Especially the way the schedule is being, to where you're playing more conference games, you're playing more bangers, you're not getting the layup games like they're kind of forcing those games out, which is good. And so, but again, that's letting you have these mulligan type games to put yourself in some adverse situations to where you know what losing feels like. You learn something from the game, and you hope to get better, and then you get on to the playoff. You get in the dance. And so, yeah, like job security would be, yeah, you win 9 and 10 games every year. We're not going to be looking to fire the guy. I mean, again, we're not in that place to where we're at allegedly Ohio State, where, like I say, they're trying to fire a guy for losing to Michigan, but winning national titles and winning 10, 11 games every year. Like we're not there yet. So
yeah, last
like,
comment here. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, when are they going to want to fire Kirby when he doesn't make the playoff again this year, or they lose in the second round again? I mean, Kirby defense.
This is an interesting one. You just mentioned Kirby defense, Saban defense, Lanning defense. Why are we only looking for offensive-minded coach? So, to go along with that, it has been reported, and I know as well, behind the scenes in this coaching search, they are looking for offensive-minded coaches. That is the mindset of the people who are making the hire. So that's why offensive coaches have dominated. But then, don't get me wrong, there's been one, Marcus Freeman, but his buyout's way too high.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's going to have to come off the pocket. Same way with Dan Lanning.
Well, here's the other thing.
Who's that defensive coordinator?
How many national championships does Dan Lanning have?
Right.
And, and then again, we're so recency biased with Saban and Kirby. Like, they're the outliers in this whole damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Saban was the GOAT for a reason, and Kirby was in that tree, and he basically took that. And I knew Kirby was going to be a good fit for Georgia. Like, I hated that, because I knew how good Kirby was at Bama, to where he got to his alma mater, the place that he loves, to where he wants to beat the hell out of Florida and beat everybody else. And you knew eventually, the way he was recruiting and all that they were going to get it turned, and they did. And they're a powerhouse now. But again, they haven't won the national title. So should we fire Kirby? You know what I'm saying? So
here's the good points right here. Yes, as offense is Florida's DNA.
Totally.
Exactly. We've been our best when that's
Urban.
Just because we've hired offensive guys doesn't mean it's successful now. We know that. We've seen it with Napier.
You think about it, it took Spurrier's first, we had a lot of good seasons with Spurrier, but until we won the national titles, we got serious on defense, and we hired a guy named Bob Stoops, who turned out to be a pretty good coach himself. So
Ryan Day just won a title. Is the comment. Who won the title before him, by the way?
It was
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't he an offensive guy as well? So I know people were throwing defensive guys at us, but
that's what I'm saying. When was the last time? It's Kirby and Saban.
Kirby and Saban.
And so and Nick won 7 in the last 15 years.
So I mean, but it is interesting. Defense can work other places. It just does not seem to work at Florida. I mean, we've already talked about him for all his faults. Dan Mullen was still very successful in 18, 19, 20. Offensive-minded guy. We are at our best when it's used that Florida speed on offense. And
college football is a game for offense. Like if you go look at the top teams in the country, they're all offensive explosion type teams. I mean, just go down the list to where who's the best defensive team in the top 10. I don't know the numbers in the metro.
Georgia.
That's what I'm saying. And this is not a traditional, like we've talked about it. This is not one of the traditionally best Georgia defenses, but like they're really good, but it's not like they're not going to just completely just shut you down.
Well, see, that's the whole thing about coordinators and Glenn Schumann.
Right.
Their defense has fallen off. So Schumann isn't Dan Lanning.
Right.
Now, is that a product of Georgia not having the same talent? They don't have as much depth anymore because of that.
I think that's ultimately what it is, and that's been what's hitting everybody, across the board. That's why, you look at some of those Bama teams, even when this whole thing started, going where the NIL is going, they were losing their depth pieces to other teams across the country. And, that's basically, it's hit everybody, so it's the new way of learning how to do it. But offense sells tickets. Offense is going to keep you, in games. If you got to get in shootouts and you got to outscore everybody, that's a fun way to watch. You need to carry a defense, but you don't have to have, think about that 2019 LSU team. They just outscored everybody. Their defense did kind of come around, but
finally,
they gave up a ton of points that season, so it's like, it is an offensive game, and just, no team is, winning 17-10 in college football week in and week out.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, man. This is good.
This might have to be the weekly way we do this.
Just put me on the top next time.
Yeah. I will switch that around. Or let me play. I didn't know it was going to do that.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
But no. I don't like that though, by the way. So you're right. I will have to fix that. Mike can customize this, by the way, and just slide you over a little bit.
Slide me over and then put
slide
it in
whoever's on the bottom over, and I will figure it out because I don't like the way. I don't even like the way it looks. So it's been every time I hit the comment, it's gotten on my nerves. So
it's okay. I'm the comedic relief. It's okay for me to get kind of like covered up.
I can play around with it. It's okay. It made it a little bit smaller, but it would still be in the way. Yeah, I'll have to play around.
I'll just sit up a little higher next time.
Oh
yeah, we like that.
There we go.
Boom.
Oh, it cleared up. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Good stuff, guys. This was really fun. The Q&As, it's a good little session here. Yeah, this was fun. We'll have to try it like this again.
Yeah.
Well, let's end it with one thing.
What's that?
Everyone's got to, I mean, do we all agree?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the question. Is the next coach of the Florida Gators Lane Kiffin?
Yes.
Where you at? 30%?
Well, 30's higher than I have for anyone else, so I guess I'm going to say yes for now.
I like that. Hedging your bets there a little bit.
Yeah, I'm keeping my hopes low, though. I've been burned too many times. I'm young, but I've been burned throughout my entire life after the championship, so I'm just going to play it safe and be excited when we can get that done, hopefully.
Hold on, one more. Swag, send your question in right quick. If you can type fast enough. You said didn't answer any of my questions. Well, I'm sorry. Just send a general one right quick. I will try and squeeze it in right here right quick. But until hopefully you didn't leave. But Alex, everybody's answering your question here. Yes. That was from Adam. Billy says yes. RCL Ibeck says yes. Billy B says all aboard. Surfing Joka says yes. Andrew says yes. Brian Fisher says all aboard. Gator Swag says yes to Kiffin. So yeah, there we go. This one's funny. Yeah, says yeah. I like that. Gator Swag. Okay, he's asking this. Did you hear that Ole Miss is already looking for a new coach for next year? That is very interesting. I have, but I wouldn't say that's news only because I think a lot of people knew Lane Kiffin might be interested in a Florida job. So Ole Miss is not going to sit around. Yeah. They cannot afford to sit around. If there's this talk of, hey, our head coach could be interested in that job, and the decision's not likely to be made till late November. Ole Miss can't sit around. So I don't think that's any indication for sure that Ole Miss or that Lane Kiffin's leaving Ole Miss for Florida. But if you find out there's the least little bit of interest, yes, you as a program, you better be doing your due diligence.
Yeah, no, that was like when I was talking about with Greg McGarity, the former, athletic director at UGA, he comes on the show in Jacksonville, like he's like, yeah, these ADs, you better already have a short list. They already have a guys they better be vetting, so if and Lane, flips and burns them, they're not just leaving their, hand in the back. Like, what are we doing here? Like they got to have a list, I
mean, I guarantee you Scott Strickland was looking last year and had a list last year.
Totally. Oh, they vetted guys last year. They did. Yeah, I mean, I don't care. That's not
here's the biggest guys. Here's the biggest question. Is Eli good enough to go to Ole Miss?
Penn State.
Yep. That's where I think. Right now too.
That's a good spot. He belongs there.
He's a Big Ten coach.
Boring, all white out.
The credit I will give Eli, and I've said it before, he's done a good job at hiring assistants. Blake Baker, great DC, has gone on to LSU. Their season, of course, hasn't lived up to expectations, but their defense is much better than it has been. And then their offense has been better since he hired Kirby Moore as an offensive coordinator, and they've gotten better since he's given up play calling. He's shown the willingness to adapt. All right, the offense is not good as me, with me as a head coach play caller. Let me bring in an offensive coordinator like somebody refused to do here at the Florida job. So he has shown willingness to adapt. He has shown willingness for change. He has shown I can go get assistance. So it's, there's, if you're going to prop him up, like I said, whoever is the hire, I will look for the good. So if he ended up being the hire, that would be some check marks in the plus column that I'd make for Eli Drinkwitz. But I just overall don't think it would just be the best fit.
Okay, we didn't even talk about John Gruden.
Good God, I had that on.
And that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC.
Oh, you got the accent in there too.
Good. Dude, what happened to the hair, man? You shaved it off?
I was thinking about me. I was like, wait.
Hold on. Yeah, I like your.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to prop up Gators Breakdown Plus in the Discord. I'm going to prop it up by doing this. Everybody knows the Discord is fun. You get those ad-free episodes, all that good stuff. But if you guys didn't see it,
you didn't see this, Alex?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Somebody with some
the hair thing.
Somebody with some good AI work or some good Photoshop skills.
I did see that. Yep.
So Stas on the Gators Breakdown Plus Discord, having a lot of fun in there today. Dave Waters, when Kiffin is our coach, NIL is in a good place. We are winning and no stress. Dan Thompson was in here earlier. This is the Dan Thompson look, by the way.
But I was gonna say, didn't at one point you had like really long hair, didn't you?
Growing up, yeah.
Like maybe it'll come back. Who knows if you get like really happy with this team.
Ye old Bass says that's Theo Vaughn's cousin.
Oh no.
Alpha Gator says that's hilarious. Brian says Dave went to Turkey.
To Turkey to go get the hair transplant. Oh Lord.
But everybody, there you go. There's a like I said, today was one of the most fun days in the Discord that we've had, and this was just part of it. So yeah, there we go.
Cool.
Funny.
We'll just maybe I'll get you some generated stuff with some more hairstyles that you can play around with and post those. When Lane Kiffin is hired and you have like a full on mullet or like a Trevor Lawrence hair or something like that. We'll get you something nice.
Okay, that was last one, and we don't have to say anything. This is just going to lay a bomb here. North Florida White Trash says, should Ole Miss get Dan Mullen? How about that triangle?
I was about to say that'd be pretty good.
No comment.
They hate him in Oxford. That just would not happen.
God, how bad would the Mississippi State people hate him? Even like, good God, man.
And then Florida plays Ole Miss next year.
I know.
That would be insane. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun.
And that's in Gainesville too, isn't it?
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be. Yep.
Welcome back, Dan Mullen.
Oh, that would be funny. All right, everybody. Good stuff. Sponge, Alex.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. We had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah.
I am David Waters right here, host of Gators Breakdown. Everybody, thank you for joining us for this Q&A session, and that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown.